So unfortunately, my time has finally come. I am almost confident that I have COVID right now. I'm vaccinated, of course, so I'll be okay, but I do feel sick right now. You can probably hear it in my voice. It's really hot in here. I'm very tired, just all day, and my throat hurts so much. But anyway, the only great thing I guess about it is that I finally had the time to rewatch Zack Snyder's Justice League. I bought this set so long ago. This is actually like my second most viewed video is this unboxing, and I watched Man of Steel again. I mean, I've seen it, of course, a million times. Not a million times, like only 3 times, but still, I watched it like right after I bought this, and I watched Batman vs Superman like a few months before that, so I didn't rewatch it. But I finally found the time to watch all 4 hours of the Snyder Cut, and I just kind of want to talk about it once again. Of course, in full spoilers, I'm going to talk as much as I can in this video. I'm already getting very overheated and stuff. Although my tests are coming back negative here, it doesn't exactly makes sense because a ton of the people I was with recently have it, and I don't really think I just have a cold, but I guess we'll see. But of course, full spoilers here. Oh my god. It's been like 10 months since the movie came out, so if you haven't seen it, you probably just don't want to watch it at this point. But anyway, this thing is fantastic, and the first time I watched it, I can't remember if I said this in my review or not, I really hope I did, but I watched it on my computer throughout the day in school and at lunch and everything, but so I didn't really have a proper viewing experience. Now I still basically fully paid attention to it, and we weren't really doing much in school that day. It was at the point where it was just one class for the full day, and I was done everything, so it was okay. But I finally watched it on my TV in 4K, like, 'cause this is the 4K set. I watched all 4 hours of it, although I will say I did watch like 3 hours and 15 minutes of it and then fall asleep and then have to complete the rest of it, but I remembered everything that happened and how it happened and all that, so it didn't matter as much. But I easily would have watched the whole thing if in one sitting if I didn't feel fully sick. And I think I'm gonna keep saying this, but I think I said this in my review. I haven't seen the 2017 Whedon cut since I think 2018. I watched it at home just once. I don't like it at all. I haven't watched it since. I doubt I will. The only reason I guess I would be to compare it to this one, but this one is infinite times better. There's just a bunch of things that I noticed that are massive improvements here, especially after rewatching it and watching a bunch of videos. It just shows the big difference in the tone. I think that what I really love about Snyder, because I really do love a ton of his movies. I love all the movies that come in this set: Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, yes I do, the Ultimate Edition, and the Snyder Cut. I love them all, and I just love the tone of his movies. 300 as well. I haven't seen them all, but those are the main ones. I've seen Army of the Dead and maybe some other ones, although I'm not 100% sure, but I just love the dark tone. I think that's what Whedon really ruined here, as well as a lot of things, because I was watching a comparison video, and it's just crazy to see, not only in the color correction, which is just like, hey, if we oversaturate this, it'll be all goofy and fun. Like, that's what Whedon was thinking in it, but this one, it just shows how important it is to light your scenes properly, and how much that adds to the intensity. And yes, it's 4 hours long. Does it need to be 4 hours long? Not quite, but I feel like they could have made it like 3.5 hours long and there wouldn't be a single pacing issue. There are times where maybe some scenes don't feel as important or scenes feel longer, but in the end, it matters so much more than that 2017 one, because so many scenes in that one were just cut super short, and there's a reason why I've watched it once and I really wanted to go back and rewatch it one. The reason it took me so long to rewatch this one is that I just couldn't find the time for it, but now that I feel like I'm dying, I'm not going to, but I feel like I'm dying and me talking a lot, this is the most I've talked all day. You know what, I just felt like it was finally time, and I loved it. I feel like even more this time, because I love the villains here: Steppenwolf, Darkseid, or Darkseid, whatever you want to call him. I know I always pronounce it wrong. People in the comments always correct me. I definitely understand that, but I think the best improvement, besides like all the technical things, like writing wise, character wise, has to be with Cyborg. I mean, he really takes like a big step forward here, especially compared to the 2017 one, and I've never really seen something like it with his character, so that's why I really like him here, because he just feels so impactful and important here. Because really, if you think about it, most of the story focuses on him. And if you don't like Cyborg as much, I could kind of see why you wouldn't love this film, but this film really gave me a new love for him. And yes, you could say it's mainly about Bruce Wayne or Batman, my favorite character of all time, and how he assembles this with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, and the return of Superman's amazing. Aquaman, great as well. You got everyone. You got Barry Allen, Flash, who, I mean, I just love the way that the Flash scenes here are. I love the slow-mo lightning, and in the 4:3 aspect ratio. I remember when I put it on last night, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I was in this aspect ratio. I didn't really mind, like, I don't mind, but I was watching, I was like, I wonder what this would look like in the full aspect ratio. And then as I watched the movie, I'm like, I'm so glad they didn't do that. Like, they didn't do the Justice League, like, Whedon cut one, just because I feel like it gives it a more authentic look, and because of the 4K, like, because this is a disc, so I'm just gonna take a wild guess that it looks better than on HBO Max or Crave, for sure. The detail is insane, but the return of Superman in this film is done so well. There feels like an actual reason to bring him back, and the way they introduce his return in this one, especially compared to the 2017 one, is amazing. If you don't remember how it goes, it's like the most obvious stupid excuse to bring him up in the 2017 one, but in this one I love how they're all talking about it, kind of, and then Barry's just like, I know we're all thinking the same thing, I'm not gonna say it, who's gonna say it? And then Cyborg just like flashes the image of Superman. Some people could call it overdramatic, but I don't find it overdramatic. I really like that. And yes, I am trying to talk as fast as possible, even though it's getting really hot in here. I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. I really didn't know what video I was gonna make today, just because I haven't made a video in like 5 days, and this is not the best time for me to be making a video just because of how I feel. But I just really wanted to talk about this movie, and one of the main things I'm gonna talk about very shortly here is just that what I love about Snyder, especially about what he fixed here, is the stupid over sexualization of some of the characters here. I mean, obviously he's been called out for it, Whedon has been called out for it, as he should be, and the stupidity of what he does and how disgusting it is, but you know, Snyder doesn't even come close to anything like Flash falling on Wonder Woman and that awkward joke, or Aquaman hitting on Wonder Woman. Like, there is nothing like that in this movie, and it just makes it feel so much more real, because those other scenes are just so stupid, and that's one of the main things I remember from that movie, and that's unfortunate because it's not in a positive light, obviously, at all. So I love how Snyder fixed that. I also love how the comedy was fixed, because it was toned down, but it's not absent in the movie. I mean, it's a very dark and dreary movie most of the time, but it has some of my favorite, like, Batman or DC lines, I could say. Like when Barry's like, oh yeah, what's your superpower again? And Bruce is just like, I'm rich. And then other things way later on in the movie where Clark's just like, so how'd you get the house back from the bank? And then Bruce is like, I bought the bank. Like, stuff like that. So funny, and lots of great callbacks. The CGI here is a million times better, and I just gotta say, I love this movie. Sure, maybe at times there's a few scenes that don't feel perfectly necessary and maybe go on for the tiniest bit longer, and sometimes the use of like the Amazonian, is that Amazonian? Whatever, however you say that, like their music, I could say every time Wonder Woman's on screen can get a little bit repetitive in 4 hours of it, but I love this movie. I think that it is a massive improvement here. I think looking back on it compared to my first watch, this was a much better experience. I really just felt locked in with the movie. I didn't fall asleep because of the movie or its length. Again, it's because of how sick I am and how I feel and how stuff up my nose is as well. I bet I sound very different here, hopefully through my microphone, well, hopefully not through my microphone, but I know this video is kind of just a really long rant, but I just have to say, this movie is fantastic. If you haven't seen it already, you need to. I just love the finale. I mean, that whole final battle is just phenomenal, and the fact that this is split up on 2 different discs is crazy, and it's split right at the perfect time. I know that Snyder says like 2 hours and 20 minutes in the movie, that's when you can really take your break, and that's when the first disc ends and then you start the second one, and I just think that was perfect. Sure, 4 hours, does it need to be? Not exactly, but I'm so glad this version of it came out. I would definitely watch it again. I will definitely watch it again in the future. Again, I'll have to find very long days where I have time to watch it, but when it comes to the DCEU, I think that this one or the Suicide Squad is the best. It's between those two. This one, I'd say as of right now, probably my favorite, but I will be rewatching the Suicide Squad soon, and my review of the first season of Peacemaker will be up in the next few days, although I might actually put this video on Patreon first and then like have it go on YouTube a few days later just for the Patreon fans, because I have Jason Carr and Brandon, the Brando Critic, on there. Thank you guys, and thank you everyone for watching. If you've seen it, which I assume most of you have, let me know what you think of it down below. What is your favorite improvement compared to that 2017 one? For me, it's probably just the way the movie looks. I mean, there's like a million things story-wise, and everything makes more sense. I'd say the way it looks and the stuff with Cyborg, just a million times better. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.